Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a brilliant, behind-the-scenes role that is quite literally powering the UK's renewable energy transition. You know, we always tend to think about the engineers up on the roof, right? The physical hardware, the massive scale of green energy, but there's this entire hidden infrastructure making those installations actually happen. It's basically the secret engine driving thousands of homes to seamlessly switch to solar. And it all really starts with one fantastic question. What happens after yes? Think about that for a second. There is a critical and honestly sometimes vulnerable gap between a customer enthusiastically agreeing to have solar panels installed and the actual installation day. There's waiting, there's a literal mountain of paperwork, and frankly, there's a lot of potential anxiety for a homeowner who's making a massive leap into a brand new technology.
Well, that brings us right to the core of today's topic, the Solar Customer Onboarding Assistant. This is the dedicated professional whose entire job is ensuring a customer feels informed, organized, and truly looked after throughout their solar journey. They are the absolute crucial human touchpoint here. They guide people through what can often feel like an incredibly complex, jargon-heavy process, and they turn what could be a chaotic undertaking into a smooth, completely manageable journey.
Okay, Section 1, the Solar Customer Journey, mapping the milestones.
So, from the customer's perspective, this timeline moves pretty quickly. It goes from the initial financial deposit, through to the site survey, the physical installation itself, and finally handing over the completion pack. Now, as an onboarding assistant, you manage the flow right across this entire timeline. You act as the consistent, reassuring voice from that very first commitment. You're keeping all those moving parts perfectly aligned, right up until the system is switched on and actively generating power.
Moving on to Section 2, your daily responsibilities, the day-to-day reality. Picture a typical Tuesday morning in the office. Your foundational tasks are essentially the engine of the whole operation. You're welcoming new customers the absolute moment they sign. You're meticulously checking property details, which, by the way, prevents incredibly costly engineering delays down the line. Plus, you're constantly updating the CRM systems and shared files while fielding everyday questions. It is fast-paced, and it's absolutely vital to preventing the whole process from just grinding to a halt. And this builds into a really typical rhythmic sequence of interactions. Step 1, you're politely chasing missing information. Step 2, and this is where you really add massive value, you're explaining the next steps in plain English, just stripping away all that technical jargon. Step 3 involves accurately recording your notes so the entire team stays in the loop. And Step 4, keeping those final handover packs perfectly organized. Essentially, you become a translator and a tour guide for the renewable sector.
Section 3. The honest reality. Repetition versus reward.
Let's be totally honest here. Every job has its highs and lows, right? The repetitive tasks in this role are undeniable. You're going to send repeated emails, you'll chase the exact same missing details across multiple accounts, update the same records, and write notes after every single conversation. It can absolutely be an administrative grind, but the rewarding aspects completely counterbalance this. You are actively calming anxious customers. You're demystifying a really daunting journey, and you're supporting real renewable energy projects straight from your desk, no hard hat required.
All right, Section 4, your AI superpowers, working smarter. This is where things get super interesting. Artificial intelligence literally steps in to transform this role from a potential admin headache into a highly efficient operation. Think of it as a tireless assistant. It drafts welcome emails instantly. It takes your messy, rushed notes and turns them into clean action lists, summarizing long calls in seconds. It even translates complex engineering jargon into plain English for you. You aren't replacing the human touch at all here. You're just using AI to buy back your precious time so you can focus entirely on the customer.
And like the quote says, AI makes this job easier and more efficient every single day. It's not some futuristic gimmick, and it's definitely not a threat to the role. It is an everyday superpower. It completely streamlines your workflow, clears away all that tedious admin, and empowers you to deliver just an outstanding customer experience.
Section 5. Is this for you? Finding the ideal candidate.
So you might be sitting there wondering if your current skills align with this. Well, the barrier to entry might actually surprise you. We're looking for people from customer service, admin, or really any general office background. You just need to be organized, calm, and patient. And honestly, perhaps the most important point on this whole slide, there are absolutely zero electrical qualifications needed to start. None.
Your organizational skills and your empathy are exactly what this rapidly growing sector is desperate for.
Which leads us to a pretty provocative final question. Are you ready to step into the renewable future? If you've got those core organizational skills, a background in helping people out, and you want a role that actually truly matters, this opportunity is literally right in front of you.
And taking immediate action is incredibly simple. Just ask LELAIL. Start the Solar Customer Onboarding Assistant Taster course. That's it. This launches a brilliant voice-first interactive taster that gets you started towards your completion certificate right away.
Plus, the full interactive voice-first course is completely accessible worldwide in over 100 languages at LELAIL.com. It's just the perfect way to upskill and join the transition. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. As the grid goes fully green over the next decade, the real question is, what role will you choose to play in it?